It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPDM Crew podcasting network. And this is a special Fifth Thursday edition of the show. And every so often there's a Fifth Thursday. And my new Fifth Thursday partner is my buddy Adam, also a member of the SPDM Crew. Adam, thank you so much for coming on.
Easy for you to say. Yeah, no, pleasure to be here.
Apparently,
I
it's
like
not.
to.
Saying Fifth Thursday apparently is that difficult to say.
I'm happy to be the bench warmer for these episodes. They suit my schedule very well. So yeah, and it's always fun to talk about these films.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about a double dose of video game injected films. They're not based on actual video games, but they certainly have a lot of video game elements to them. And we're going to be talking about Scott Pilgrim versus the World and Wreck-It Ralph. And let's get started with Scott Pilgrim versus the World, aka the movie that everybody was in 15 years ago, that all have really great careers at this point, apparently.
Yeah.
And this is about a young man must defeat his new girlfriend's 7 evil exes who are willing to do anything to prevent her happiness with somebody else. And this is based off of a graphic novel. This is co-written and directed by Edgar Wright. This was his first foray into, not British stuff. But
Mm.
Adam, what are your general thoughts on Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
I should give you a bit of my history with this film, to be honest. Look, actually, how do I phrase it? And I should have planned this better. Sorry, Shane. Um, I think this film came to me 15 years too late.
Mhm.
I watched it well after everyone else, and because it had good buzz and Edgar Wright. So I checked it out, and I'm like, this doesn't do it for me. I watched it again, and I was like, yeah, I'm still not there. I've brought the 4K because I like to give movies extra chances, and
Yeah.
I thought Scott Pilgrim would be a film that's got enough in there for me to go, I think I would really like this. I don't not like it, but then when I watched it for this show, I'm still in that zone of, yeah, I appreciate it, I respect it, and I can see why people love it. It's just hit me too late in my life, I think. Um, I get it. Look, I laugh at it and I enjoy watching it, but it doesn't vibe with me the way it vibes with a lot of people.
Yeah, I have a couple of very specific holdups with this
Hmm.
film that makes me not love this film. Like I really enjoy it, and like most of the movie I like a lot and have a lot of fun with. But I guess let's start with some of the negative. Like there's two big holdups that I have here.
Yep.
One, I really don't buy Michael Cera as Scott Pilgrim in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
I don't buy Michael Cera as a guy who has these women just
Yes.
clamoring for him.
Dude.
And like, because like the vibe that it's supposed to get is just like, oh no, like, why does Ramona like him? Like
Do you want to
that's
know?
what I don't get. And like I can understand why Knives does because she's a young girl who's like, he's an older
Mm,
guy and he's cool, he's
yeah.
in a band. But like and Michael Cera doesn't have the charisma to make Scott likable because Scott's not really a likable character and does a
No.
lot of things that aren't great. And like Michael Cera just doesn't have that for me to like, okay, but like I want to see if he could redeem himself. Like I really don't care about Scott. And especially watching it this time, like I didn't really care about him getting the girl
Mm,
in the end. Honestly, I think that this movie would have had a better impact if he wound up without either of them and had to really face things and start from scratch. And that's my other big hang up with this movie is I don't like the ending. Like I don't like I don't like that he winds up with either of them. And what the hell
mm.
was the nega Scott thing? Like, why was that even in there? And those are a couple of things that like sure they're only two things, but like they're pretty big things that take away from my experience with this movie and why I can't really love this movie.
Look, I don't disagree with you, but I do want to counter it a little bit by maybe I'm a big fan of Michael Cera. I'm a huge Arrested Development fan,
Mhm.
and I've followed his career ever since then. I think he's great, and I'm happy he's actually coming back into do
Mhm.
more films actually at the moment. Um, for what the movie seems to be putting across is that, yeah, like you said, he has three gorgeous women after him. Brie Larson, son of a bitch, if he's bagged Brie Larson, that makes me
Yeah.
really jealous because I love Brie Larson. I think she's stunning. Um, but I think the point might be that he is unlikable. Women like the bad boy. Some women, I'm not going to generalize, but some women go for an asshole, and and Scott Pilgrim is definitely an asshole of a guy, right? And I think that's the point of it. Like he does nothing to win over. Sorry, I don't know the character name. I always go by the actor's name, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. He does nothing really to win her over, but he wins her over just for no real reason. There's nothing he's shown in the movie for her to be attracted to him. Um, and then when you see that he's with like the high school girl, and he's kind of, there's a really good discussion that comes up, and I'm sidetracking a little bit from my point. Is he was cheating on both of them? Like, I think that's a really good
Mhm.
perspective to look at when they go through that scene. We might talk about that a bit later. But yeah, you'd hope that the actors cast in this might be like the Chris Evans type, who's hilarious in this movie, like a heartthrob looking guy, but he's
Yeah.
not. Like he's a very look. I'll say the word. He's on the ugly side of humanity. I would say. I don't know how to word this without getting
Hey,
cancelled. Sorry. He's not an
it's
attractive person, so I
like
think it's his.
I feel like this would have made more sense, and I don't want to keep trying to put this very oversaturated actor and everything, but like I would have got this more if this was like a Timothy Chalamet type,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
like it's Michael Cera, and
yeah. Mm.
this film's trying to make him, yeah, he's a jerk, but he's like a puppy dog, and just like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
it's not working for me in this. Like either he has to be like the bad guy that would attract women, but he's
Mm.
not like he's not that kind. He's like the guy, the quote unquote nice guy that tells you he's a nice guy and tries to warn you about the bad guys, but is actually a bad guy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't buy that character
Mm.
in this situation. Like by the end, I just like Scott as a character feels like the kind of character that needs to truly hit rock bottom for him to really get something out of this. And what's interesting is
Mm.
I actually like the series that they made. I thought made things a lot more
Mm.
interesting
I should watch
than
that.
what we got here. And that's just my biggest like I could still have fun with the movie and enjoy it, but I just don't connect with it on an emotional level because like I don't care. Like I
Mm.
don't think he deserved to get Ramona at the end of the movie. Like I just don't buy that.
Yeah. Yep.
And it makes me sad that Knives as a character is just like, no, go with her. She's the one you've been fighting for this whole time. It's like, no, Knives, for yourself and be like, I'm too good for you. Because
Yeah,
Knives
yeah, yeah.
is too good for him.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
like, I don't want to be this way, but this movie definitely feels like it's written by a nerdy dude. Like,
Yeah.
if
Well,
there's like,
yeah.
because like, that's the thing. Michael Sarah Scott Pilgrim kind of feels like a nerdy guy's wet dream of just like, look at
Absolutely.
this schlub
It's
and as
it's
women fighting over
definitely
him.
it's definitely a fantasy of some kind. So who did write it? Michael Bacall, Edgar Wright, Brian Lee O'Malley.
Yeah.
Um, it'd be interesting to see. Look, I didn't watch any extras on this or director's commentary, but it'd be interesting to see how they explain away because I think everything you're saying is completely valid. But I do think the filmmakers or the writers would be able to say, well, this is why, was our thinking of why this character is like this. I think I'm not smart enough to be able to counter all of that with you at the moment because I'm not
And that's the thing, it
into
doesn't
that
need to
movie,
be
into this
countered.
movie.
Like, it just didn't work for me. And
Mm.
like, I didn't buy into
Sorry,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
And
fair.
And outside of that, I really do like Michael Cera, and I think it's so funny because
Mm.
like we were just talking off before we were recording, like I really loved him in the Phoenician Scheme that I just got to see, and like
Mm.
I really
Mm.
bought him in that. There's things that I really like Michael Cera in. It's just this seems like a weird
Yep.
casting for me. And then, but the whole rest of this cast is ridiculous because
It's
Mary
great,
Elizabeth
man. Yeah.
Winstead is so fantastic, and obviously
Two
she
future Oscar
belongs.
winners.
Yeah, like Kieran Culkin is so
Mm.
funny in this as
Yeah, he's
Wallace, who's
amazing.
just like
Yeah, he is.
stealing every single woman's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and just like little roles with like Aubrey Plaza and Anna Kendrick. Like
Yeah.
they're fun
Yeah.
every time they pop up. Allison
Yeah.
Pill is so committed to this like gloom facade that she has on.
Yeah.
And God, Jason Schwartzman as Gideon is so damn good.
I love Jason
It's,
Schwartzman.
oh my God. You know how long it took me to put this together? 2 whole hours. I'm just like,
Yeah.
he is so believable as like this guy that like got into this position that because like Jason Schwartzman's not a cool dude either, but like
No.
Gideon is like successful and rich in this position where he can leverage that to make himself seem cool, but he's totally not. And I think that's one of the best parts of his character is
Yep.
that it's like it's Jason Schwartzman. And the fact that the final battle is between Michael Cera and Jason Schwartzman is absolutely hilarious. And then, you have so many great, like, yeah, you mentioned before, Chris Evans is so
Oh,
good in this.
the,
And
he delivers the most quotable line in the movie about getting blazed in the back of my Winnie. It's so
yeah,
funny. It's so
it's
well delivered.
I love him as Steve Rogers. I love him as Captain America, but I
Mm.
was so happy when Knives Out came out and I got to see
Mm.
asshole Chris Evans again
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like he is so good at that and
Yes.
so good at that and like even the likes well like Brie Larson's so perfect in this and
Yeah.
like her song too great. um I think that's one of the other things that I
Which she's
like.
really singing. She's a
Yes,
really
because
great
she can
singer in real
actually
life.
really sing.
She's got a beautiful voice. Yeah.
I think another thing that I don't wholly connect with this because and this isn't about the movie, this is just an aesthetic thing. Like I'm not about this kind of music. I'm not a punk person. So
No,
like
no, me
a lot
either.
of the
No.
music in this movie, I'm not a huge fan of, but it works
Yeah.
perfectly for the movie.
Hmm.
Even like Mae Whitman is a lot of fun. Brandon
Yeah,
Routh.
yeah.
Good for Brandon Routh because I feel so
Yes.
bad for him because the Superman Returns and
I
him
know.
just being Todd, the vegan, and then the vegan police with
Yeah.
Thomas Jane and Clifton Collins.
Yes.
So great. Like
Yeah.
that is such a great gag. He's
That is
like,
a great gag.
chicken's not vegan.
That's
Oh,
perfect. That's a joke that will hold up for eternity, actually.
yep. That vegan police thing is so inspired and funny.
Yeah.
And like the cast is just incredible. There's so many talented people in this movie.
Mm.
And
Mm.
then you have I love the video game aesthetic, like the 8-bit
Yep.
vibes of it, the crazy over the top action sequences, even with like the special effects, like the whole sword fight at the end of the movie
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
so much fun. Those kinds of things, like I wholly buy into the aesthetic of this movie, the action of this movie. Almost every single character in this movie I have so much fun with. It's so
Mm.
interesting that I love so much about this movie, except for like the central piece of the movie. And
Yeah. Yeah.
but like that's the main reason why like I don't fully love this movie. But like there's very few directors that could have like sold this movie the way that Edgar Wright did.
Yeah. Totally agree.
The
Totally agree.
editing, so many like Wallace answering the door, it's like what's he's like, oh, Scott just went out and he just flies out the window right behind him. And
Yeah.
like him getting the phone call from his sister yelling, I was like, who told you? Wallace told me. And he's like asleep, but he has like a phone in his hand. Like
Yeah.
little things like that. And there's so many great moments with this, and this film is so creative and fun. Like this
Super
makes
thing.
all of his work, I think, is incredible. Work, even like his, I really liked his documentary about Sparks. Like it made me want to go check out Sparks music, that Edgar Wright made. And then I
Yeah,
can't
never
wait to see what
seen.
he does with the Running Man.
Yeah, this is yeah. I'm super keen because this is apparently a more faithful adaptation to the novella or the short story from
Yeah.
Steve Richard Buckman, which I've read once upon a time.
Okay.
Um, yeah, super keen. I mean, I love the Arnie version, but I mean, it's Edgar Wright. I think most film people, film bros, are going to turn out to an Edgar Wright film for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, this has like I have specific things that I don't like about this film, but there's
hmm
so much that I love about it that like I just have such a great time with it.
I think that really sums up me as well. Like, there's so much to love here, but I just don't vibe with it. Like, it's like I said, it's not my and putting my fingers on the aspects of why I don't vibe with it. It might be the punk music, even though again, I do think it suits the movie really well. Like, I wasn't sitting there thinking my ears were hurting because of this music. I was like, it's not my music, but it really fit the scenes they were playing and it fit the characters really well. There was just the video game aesthetics, all brilliantly done, brilliantly handled. Like everything looks schmick. But again, it's just not a film made for me, I suppose. Like I really appreciate it, and it is a solid, solid film. But yeah, it's not mine.
And I think it's like a very like is it very millennial, I guess. Like
Maybe.
it feels like one of those kinds of movies that like this is like defining a generation, kind
Mm,
of like very specifically aimed at a specific generation. And that could be a potential difficult thing because like I'm sure there like I know some films like Bodies Bodies Bodies, which is like
hmm
aggressively zoomer,
Yeah,
that I
yeah,
know some people were just like, I did not get this. Because of like the aesthetics and like what it like the vibes and what it's specifically going for. But like
yeah.
this is I feel like Scott Pilgrim's like aggressively millennial kind of movie
Mm.
in terms of its
But with
vibes. Because like
80s vibes, but
yeah,
very much 80s vibes.
yes, it has that 80s 8-bit video game vibes, which
Mm.
so many millennials are nostalgic for, despite the fact that many of us did not live in the 80s. Because
I
like
did.
I was born in 1991, and like my brother who was born in 1990 is like aggressively obsessed with the 80s. And this style like
I see it.
this this is like my brother's vibe of aesthetics and stuff like that for sure.
I watched a movie the other day that I hadn't seen ever, a John Hughes film, and I was watching it thinking if this is the perfect snapshot of the 80s. It was Pretty in Pink.
Yes.
Um, as I was watching, I was thinking if there's anyone who never lived through the 80s and want to know what the 80s was about, watch
Yeah,
Pretty in
watch
Pink.
John Hughes.
It's
Like,
yeah, well, yeah, most John Hughes. Pretty in Pink is the most perfect 80s coming of age type of film. Except it doesn't have drug use like maybe Ridgemont High or something. But
yep,
otherwise, oh my God, like Pretty in Pink is perfect for that.
absolutely. Are you ready to shift gears into Wreck-It Ralph?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
this film is from 2012, and Ralph is tired of playing the role of a bad guy and embarks on a journey to become a video game hero, but he accidentally lets loose a deadly enemy that threatens the entire arcade. So this is from director Rich Moore, starring John C. Riley as Wreck-It Ralph, um, Sarah Silverman as Vanellope. We got Jack McBrayer as Fix It Felix, Jane Lynch as Calhoun,
Yes.
his muscle mommy, um,
hmm
and you got Alan Tudyk as King Candy, which he is 100%, and I've seen him talk about this doing his Ed Wynn impression,
Yes.
the Mad Hatter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
for
Yeah.
sure. But Adam, what are your general thoughts on Wreck It Ralph?
General thoughts is this movie is insanely good. Like it
Yep.
is so good. For a lot of reasons that we'll dive into. I really adore this film, and I'm glad when you asked me what film to watch for this recording, and I said, "Oh, Scott Pilgrim. I really want to see that again."
Mhm.
Because it's something I had been meaning to rewatch. And then you twinned it with Wreck-It Ralph. I'm like, perfect, because this is another movie that I love watching, but I don't watch it enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, really happy to get that ticked off again. So
And I'm going to start this off with the opposite of what I started with the last movie is I love this movie so much because I buy so much into the heart of this movie.
oh
Because
yeah,
Ralph is
definitely.
so empathetic. And I love John C. Riley. John C. Riley is an incredible actor that I don't think gets enough credit for just
Mm.
how great of an actor he is
Oh
because
yeah,
he's
he's
such a
superb.
funny, silly guy. Like, I think most people think like Talladega Nights and Step Brothers and stuff like that, but like John C. Riley is like a legitimately
He's a
great
dramatic
actor.
actor.
Yeah,
He's like him and Jeff Daniels are both they're both
it's a
brilliant
great
dramatic actors and
comparison.
both brilliant comedic actors. Yeah,
Yeah.
and both underrated because they don't have that niche of like a Brad Pitt or a Clooney or a Ryan Reynolds. They
Mhm.
don't have that because they're so broad in their variety. Um, they seem to go under the radar a little bit.
Well, John C. Riley has the face of a character actor.
Yeah, he's got a good
And
head for
like
radio. Yep.
yeah, he is not the stereotypical handsome leading man type, but he works so well in this film because he is so authentic and
Yeah.
genuine and
Yeah.
empathetic, and there's a warmth to him, and you
Hmm.
can feel like you could get a little scared when Ralph gets frustrated and loses a little bit. Like
Mm.
you feel for him because like the world's just crapping on him all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And like the fact that like he has to live in a garbage pile, he gets
Hmm.
thrown in mud every day,
Yeah.
and he's not even like the I hate the people in that building
Oh,
because
yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
the worst.
The worst bunch of Karens and Kevins.
Yes, the worst. And like Ralph has done nothing to them, but like
No,
it just
except
he
wreck
has
their
to be a
building every
bad
day,
guy.
but
And one of the most creative things is that bad guy support group.
yeah,
And
that's amazing. Yeah.
Zangief from Street Fighter,
Yeah,
and you're
that
just
is
like,
so funny.
but if who would crush Robin eggs between thighs if not Zangief? And like it's so good. Like Bowser's there and
Yeah.
Satan. Oh, thanks, Satan. It's just like
The ghosts from Pac-Man as well. Like it's
yeah,
yeah.
and they just I love that dynamic because it humanizes them. And then their little
Mm.
chant at the end of their meetings and just like, damn,
It's
like
adorable, right?
it's adorable. And like he goes to was it tappers to just,
Mm.
get a beer and all of those kinds of elements. And we want to root for him to be more than he's stuck
Mm.
with. And there's some great world building here with like
Yeah.
the Halo-esque first person
Yeah.
shooter game that they have.
Yep.
And my God, Jane Lynch's
Oh, she's
sad
awesome.
backstory
Yeah,
is one of
yeah,
the best gags in the whole entire
yeah.
movie. I'm like, damn, that's
Yeah.
sad. And
Yeah.
she's so good in
It goes
this. And
hard.
like this whole Candyland
Mm.
inspired Mario Kart game basically
Ah, yeah,
um
yeah,
is so funny and there's so many great gags like I Adam, I cannot explain to you how hard I laugh with the Oreos.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Oreos
Yeah, it's great, isn't
from the
it?
Wizard of Oz. I'm just like, are
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
kidding me?
Oreos,
Yeah.
Oreos. Yeah, it's great.
And the fact that the cops are donuts and they have like devil dogs. Where it's like just sniffing around and just like,
So creative, right? It's so
yes,
creative.
this movie is so creative for sure. And Alan Tudyk needs to be
Mm.
protected at all costs. Because this man
Yeah.
is an absolute gem. Like I just finished the series finale of Andor, and just remembering just
Oh,
how
haven't watched
great
it yet.
K2SO is.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and like he is such a gem, and him as King Candy is
yeah.
so funny. Like uh, you punched a guy with glasses. Like
Yeah, that's
just
awesome. You
like
wouldn't punch a
jokes
guy
like
with
that.
glasses. Yeah,
You want to punch a guy with glasses, and then he grabs the glass and punches him with the glasses. And just that kind of, there's such irreverent humor in this
Mm,
movie. And like Jack McBrayer is so great as a Fix-It
yeah.
Felix. And he's just such a fun character. And like he has that dynamic with him and Jane Lynch. It's so great.
Mm.
It's just like, what a couple.
They're perfectly made for each other, actually. It'd be cool to
Mhm.
see them. Do you know what? I'm going off track as I want to do. Um, I can imagine Jack McBrayer and Jane Lynch being in like this buddy cop throwback movie to the 80s or 90s, right? Just being one good cop,
I
one
pay to
bad
see it.
cop, and it would be fantastic. Just to see them do riff on that type of idea.
He is one of the most unsung MVPs of 30 Rock, of him just
Mate,
being the page.
30
And
Rock wouldn't be 30 Rock without him. Like, I
no,
adore that show. Between him and Alec Baldwin, that show would be nothing without those two.
and like forgetting Sarah Marshall and his whole subplot in the movie
Yeah, yeah.
on his honeymoon.
No,
Just
that's so funny. He's
and
just averse to anything sexual.
yeah, like if a city planner wanted you to like if God was a city planner, he wouldn't put a playground next to a sewer system or
Yeah,
something like that. Just
yeah.
oh my God. And Sarah Silverman is such an interesting actor. And
Mm,
she is like what I love about this is because John C. Reilly and Sarah Silverman bring so much to these roles that aren't just what you expect out of it. Because there's
no.
so much depth to these characters, and like this is like I legitimately think the best work that Sarah Silverman has done in a movie.
Yeah, yeah. I can't argue against that. She's amazing. Like they both of them, as you were saying, they bring, and that's what makes this movie great, is them because they bring this emotional gravitas to the
Mhm.
situations of these characters. And in that climactic scene at the end, you feel for them, like you want
Yeah,
them to win, right? Like, and I don't know, just yeah, it says a lot.
and this film legitimately has great twists in it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, it
they
does.
have really well structured, executed twists in this that are just like,
Hmm.
holy crap, wait a minute.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
this
yeah.
completely reframes the whole entire film and in such an effective way. And you have like little roles from like Mindy Kaling is Taffeta, Mutton
Hmm.
Fudge. What a name. And of course, Mindy
Then the
Kaling would
Mean
be the
Girls, right?
like the mean girl, where she
Yeah, yeah,
would
yeah,
be. And like
yeah,
Ed O'Neill is the guy that runs the arcade. Just like
yeah.
little that's one of the things that like and I also think people don't realize just how important Wreck-It Ralph was to Disney animation
It's
because
yeah, yeah.
like
It's
from the whole 2000s were on average more underwhelming than they were actually
yeah,
successful for Disney. It was
yeah.
Pixar that was completely blowing everybody out of the water because like outside of Lilo and Stitch and the Emperor's New Groove, they didn't have a whole lot of wins from
Well,
2000 to 2010. And Wreck-It Ralph, and I think that one Winnie the Pooh movie that came out were like, oh wait, Disney Animation still has it in them, and then Frozen came out, and then it just
yeah. I
blew
did
up
want to make
all
that
over again.
comparison with Pixar because Wreck-It Ralph is would be easily confused as a Pixar film. Like
Yes.
this is the closest Disney will has ever gotten to a Pixar style film, and it kind of makes me wonder whether it was a rejected Pixar script maybe, and Disney ran with it because I don't know the timelines of when they brought Pixar, whether this was before or after that. I assume it was after, but there's just I'd like I'd like to know the behind the scenes, to be honest, because it would be an interesting story. This is a very much, and it's very much a Pixar movie, really, because of those central themes and the core
Yeah.
messages of it. That's why I see it as that. Apart from the animation style and the cleverness behind it.
And I could definitely see that argument. And like, yeah, I do think that people might actually confuse this with being a Pixar
Yeah.
movie.
Mm.
And what's crazy is Rich Moore, who made this movie, cut his teeth on Futurama,
Yes.
which
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which
Also Simpsons. He was
you
used
know,
to
like
be a
makes a
writer on
lot
The
of
Simpsons as well.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's a ex-Simpsons alumni as well, Rich Moore. He
Okay.
produced and wrote a lot. Yeah, he wrote some great episodes. Yeah.
I think this was the fresh, like, kick in the butt Disney animation needed.
Mm.
And it was so effective and so charming. I love this movie. I could watch this movie anytime and
Yeah.
just pop it in. And
Yeah.
it's an 100 minutes. It's lean, it's effective, it has a great story, great characters, such lively worlds,
Mm.
and so much potential. And obviously, they went big with the
They
sequel,
did.
Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I've
And
seen
I
that
feel like
once.
I like that more than most people, but
Mm.
like it just there's a level of simplicity to this
Mm.
story too, because it's very
Yeah.
focused and really commits to its story. But I just charmed as hell by this movie. But these are two films from around the same time that really captured
Mm.
that like arcade style nostalgia and did them in two very different ways and two
Hmm.
effective ways. So good for Disney and Edgar Wright. Just not
Yep.
together apparently, because they couldn't make that work. Uh,
No,
but
no Star
Adam,
Wars.
thank you so much for coming on as always and talking movies with me.
No cuts, no butts, no coconuts. Thanks for having me.
Go.
Great being here as always.
And thank all of you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What's your favorite Disney animation film of the 2000s? What's your favorite Edgar Wright film? Make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you want to join the crew, start a podcast, or join as a guest, reach out. And if you like our logo, check out HiFlyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.